Hello and welcome to Kingston Now. I'm Jimmy Buff. This week we'll cover some annual events. The Hudson Valley Harvest Festival, billed as a family festival to promote and celebrate agriculture in the Hudson Valley. Then there's the Out of the Darkness Walk, an event to prevent suicide, raise awareness, and end the stigma that surrounds depression and other mental disorders. And we'll start with the O Positive Festival, a 3-day community-run celebration of music, arts, and wellness, now headed into its 4th year. With us now is festival co-founder Jo Concra. Hi, Jo.
Hey, Jimmy.
How does it feel when you hear me say now headed into its 4th year?
It's a little bit stunning, and I keep wondering how we even got through year 1. So being in year 4 is kind of a surprise.
And year 1 was kind of an experiment. It was this collection. It sort of started like with an offhanded comment somewhere by a terrific dentist here in Kingston, Tom Single, about, hey, we should do this. Right. And then you ended up with a festival where artists and musicians barter their art for wellness, for medical providers giving them treatment that weekend.
Right. I mean, it really is a celebration of the arts and music and wellness. It is the community coming together. We're all volunteers. We all work nonstop for months on end to pull this off every year. And every year we wonder why we're doing it. And then the weekend comes and we see all of these artists and musicians, instead of getting paid the fee to perform or to put their murals up on the side of a wall, we see them get the care that they really need. We see the access to care be broken down. We see them talking directly to doctors and chiropractors and wellness providers. And sort of the fear of not being insured, or the fear of how do I approach a doctor? You know, I need to get a tooth filled. I don't know which dentist to choose. We provide all of this access for these folks because we value their contribution to the society for the arts.
The 4 years, this will be the 4th year, the situation in healthcare really hasn't changed that much either. We've got the Affordable Care Act, which is coming in January, but that doesn't seem like it's going to address a lot of the issues that some of these artists are facing.
Right, and that's why we keep promoting wellness so much, because at the end of the day, what we do at O Positive is we sort of show people that there's a window to your own health and how you take care of yourself, how you learn about the people in your community. The Affordable Care Act doesn't seem like it will cover chiropractic, massage, acupuncture, the things a lot of bands and artists want because they've been in their studio using brushes for days on end and they have, a sore wrist, they need to get a massage, things that normally aren't covered, nor most plans don't cover dental or optometry, and we provide that too. So at the end of the day, what we're doing is we're providing services that are based on keeping people creative.
The Affordable Care Act, as dense as it is, trying to understand it, you're going to have people in your wellness clinic helping artists try and figure out if it's going to help them, right?
Right. Well, because we realize that part of what we have to do is education. And we've reached out to some great partners with this. The Future of Music Coalition and the Actors Fund will be in our clinic for artists and musicians this year, so they can describe to people, what the act looks like, what you can expect, what the health exchange in New York State is about, because every state is different. And that's fantastic because knowledge is power.
You have some terrific sponsors, people who help you get this on every year, like the City of Kingston.
Yep, the City of Kingston helps us now with parade permits, and our parade is always a big kickoff, shambolic, fun time. So we make sure that they give us that. We'll be using the Academy Green this year, which is really wonderful. Also, we have corporate sponsors that help us out a little bit too. If I could look directly in the camera, I would tell you we're always looking for more.
It's right there.
Okay, we're always looking for more.
At the end of the day, though, what happens is these incredible bands come into Kingston,
right,
and these artists put up artwork around Kingston, and it's a terrific, fun event.
And the takeaway from that, the way this happens, is that all of these bands and artists go back to their studios and go on tour, and they talk about O Positive, and they talk about Kingston, and they say, there's this community in the Hudson Valley where I just played or I just did a mural, and I saw a dentist, and I saw an acupuncturist, and I saw a doctor, and it was kind of amazing. And that's what we see. The applications this year 1, we had to beg our friends to come perform and do wheat paste murals. This year we had 220 bands apply and 90 artists for 35 spots in each. It was incredibly competitive. I can't stand saying no to anybody, but we can only do as much as we can provide. We have 85 providers who are amazing. But as you mentioned, the healthcare situation is so disorganized, and the need we're filling is really, really, really there.
So tell me about some of the bands and some of the artists you've got coming.
I would love to. On the art side, I'm so excited to tell everybody that there's a street artist who does large murals named Gaia, who's internationally known, and he's coming to do a mural here in Kingston, which is just fantastic. He's coming. He's going to actually start putting it up October 1st. It's going to be beautiful. I think people are going to be really, really happy to see it. It's a mural done on paint on the side of a wall, so it will stay up until we decide to paint over it, which will be great. Same with a wonderful artist named, and say this fast, LMNOP. And she's wonderful, and she just got a whole bunch of notoriety for taking the, remember we were younger, the only you can start forest fire, only you can stop forest fires?
Sure.
So she took that image and turned it to faucet fires. And then the Department of Conservation and I think the DEP sort of said, hey, you can't do that, but she won. So she does this shirt that says only you can stop faucet fires, which we thought was kind of wonderful.
Tell me about some of the music.
The music. Buchan Gase on Saturday night, a person that you and I both like, Dan Byrne, is coming to play. Saturday afternoon, Lions Club, we're going to have their big band out in the street. We're going to kick it off at the Old Dutch Church like we always do this year with Simi Stone and her amazing lineup band, and Simon Felice, which I think will be wonderful. Nicole Atkins, who's been playing all over the country and touring all summer long, is coming to play Saturday night, I believe, at BSP along with Common Prayer. And that's just scratching the surface. We're announcing everything. By the time you see this, it will be out.
You also have a pretty terrific admission policy. It's a suggested donation. You would like $25
Yes.
for a wristband that gets people into every event, but it's a suggested donation. If people don't have that, you'll take what they do have.
We will, and if they have more, we'll take that too. This is all about getting everybody involved into that, and we've expanded our community health expo to take over the north side of Wall Street this year. We have enough people participating. American Cancer Society, Planned Parenthood, on down the list. So this way the community, when you come, not only do you get to go and see all this music and all this art, have a great time, but you get to get informed yourself about some health options in our neighborhood and in our community.
The O Positive Festival is Columbus Day weekend in Uptown Kingston. Joe Concra, great work. Thanks for coming by again.
Thanks for having me.
You're watching Kingston Now. Next, it's Sean Gerow of the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention and Mary Jo Gibson, wife of Congressman Chris Gibson, to talk about the Out of the Darkness Suicide Prevention Walk this weekend. Welcome back to Kingston Now. The Out of the Darkness Walk is an event to prevent suicide, raise awareness, and end the stigma that surrounds depression and other mental disorders. Joining us now to talk about that is Mary Jo Gibson of the Congressional Spouses Group for Suicide Prevention and Sean Gerow of the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jim.
I'm going to start with you, Sean. How preventable is suicide?
It's very preventable. We know now through research, through education, that we can prevent lives being lost to suicide. It takes a public health approach, though. It's not a mental health disorder. It's not a mental health issue. It's a public health crisis that we need to educate all people in our country, all of our families, all of our communities. And if we do that, we know that lives can be saved.
What is key in preventing suicide?
Reducing stigma, reducing the stigma to get help. We have a society that help-seeking behavior is a sign of weakness, and we need to prevent that. We need to prevent that stigma. We need to break through that and let everyone know that it's okay to ask for help, because help and hope is available.
The events like this weekend's walk are designed for that, aren't they?
They are. They're designed to allow for healing for those who have lost someone, and also to educate others that there is hope, and hope can save a life.
Mary Jo, how did you get involved in this this topic?
Was I actually, I met a gentleman, Eric Marcus, who his father had taken his life, and I met with him a while ago. It's been over a year and a half, and he had shared with me through a later email that there was a spouses group they wanted to develop. And then they asked, then I got another email asking me if I'd like to be a co-chair of the spouses group. So we have 2 spouses from the House side, 2 spouses from the Senate side, both Democrat and Republican, and basically we as a group meet in DC when the spouses are in town and have different symposiums for education and awareness, and then those, as they gather information, they return to their districts and they back to the community and maybe write an op-ed piece, letter to the editor, speak on television or on radio and talk about this issue. We partner with the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention and get to know the chapters, be part of the walks, learn about what resources that are available to take away, as you said, the stigma. And another thing we have done this past May with the efforts of the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention and our spouses group was we encouraged folks to do PSAs, which have been done before, but it was record numbers that did PSAs this year. So I feel like, talking about people to know that they're not alone, and they can reach out. And statistics have shown that 90% of those who take their lives do have some form of mental health issue. And we want to take away the stigma of mental health treatment too.
Sure.
And to know that people can, call, which we have they have the national hotline is the 1-800-273-TALK. And if someone's a veteran, they can dial 1 and they'll get directly to a veteran. So we're just here to really talk about this issue and take away the stigma and normalize.
Well, your husband, Congressman Chris Gibson, was in the military, United States military, for
Yes.
29 years, retired as a colonel, and military suicide has gotten a lot of attention in recent years. Is that
Yes.
a particular interest to you?
Well, yes, very much so. And this particular group that I'm in also focuses in on that area and the efforts that are being done. There has been some progress that has been made, even though we're not seeing that necessarily statistically so far. There's been a lot of changes. There's a lot of education that's going on within the units to understand and to identify signs. This particular week in the Army I'll speak of has a stand down week where it's all about health and wellness of the soldier and the family. And one of the resources, they have Military One Source, which is you could call and you could get a number of sessions free from the military. So there's a lot of different resources, but there needs to be more awareness of the resources and having the senior leadership normalize going for help. And my husband really did work hard on that. When he had pre-deployments, he had a social worker there. When he had the Purple Heart ceremonies, he would talk about the wounds you see and the wounds you don't see and seek help. And they've continuously had now people talk about it. General Graham, who's spoken about, they lost a son to combat and lost his son to suicide. And they go around the country trying to educate people to understand that you need to speak about this. And you can remain in the military, even on medication, and I think that has to be clarified. So, thank you.
And Sean, when someone like the United States General comes out and makes this an issue, does that help overall the picture of suicide awareness?
Absolutely. I think when you have somebody such as General Graham or somebody else who's very prominent, either locally or nationally, come out, people gravitate to that and they listen to the message. I have a brother who's 24 years in the military and a lieutenant colonel, so they understand that because that is someone that they look up to, not only as a boss, but also just in stature. And
as a
really,
role model of sort, yeah.
Absolutely. And it really does, because it says, wow, here's somebody, a general, who's saying, let's get help. I want you to get help and follow my lead. It's amazing how people will do that.
So tell me about the walk this weekend. What are the details?
The details are it's the Ulster Dutchess County Walk, the walkway over the Hudson. That will be on the 21st, and really it's to promote not only AFSP and the research that they do, but to really allow the community to come together to realize you're not alone, and to reduce that stigma.
And will be people meeting on both sides of the bridge?
It's a good question.
Yes, absolutely.
It's an interesting.
If you signed up for the Ulster Walk, you sign up on the Ulster side. If you signed up for the Dutchess Walk, you can sign up on the Dutchess side. Just to register, sign in, and there'll be short opening ceremonies on both sides. The walk will start simultaneously, around 9 o'clock or so, and they'll walk across the bridge, meet in the middle, and then return the walk back, and then there's usually brief closing ceremonies as well.
And people can find out more information on your website?
Yes, if you just go to afsp.org, you can go onto the main website and click on the link to find a walk near you.
Terrific. Well, we thank you both for being here, for doing the work that you're doing.
Okay, thank you.
This is Kingston Now. This weekend is also the Hudson Valley Harvest Festival, a 2-day family event happening in New Paltz. We'll tell you about it next. You're watching Kingston Now. Joining us is Lydia Reidy of the Cornell Cooperative Extension and Michael Berg of Family of Woodstock to talk about the Hudson Valley Harvest Festival happening this weekend. Now, Lydia, when you put the first annual anything in a title, it means you're going to have to come back the next year and do it, and this is the second Harvest Festival. How was last year and how did it get started?
It got started, actually, it was a concept idea that Family of Woodstock had, and because we wanted to spotlight the agricultural heritage, and not only the heritage, but the actual agricultural practices that are going on now, which feed so many people so well, we decided to make it a harvest festival. We joined forces. It's actually the first time that we'd worked this closely together on a major project last year. We did actually get to put it together. We had a wonderful time. We had a little rocky weather, but it was deemed successful by both of our organizations and by the folks that came. So they encouraged us to come back and absolutely do the second annual. So here we are, much bigger, much better, all kinds of activities. It's definitely family oriented. So we're hoping that we're going to get a lot of families from the Hudson Valley and the surrounding area to come out, visit with us, have the opportunity to learn about our agriculture, both our heritage and what's currently going on in agriculture, and then also learn about how we deliver the agricultural products to the folks that imbibe of it. And since we all eat 3 times a day, we felt that people would be really excited about this.
Michael, how did it end up as a benefit for Family of Woodstock?
Well, we as most not-for-profits have been struggling to find new ways to raise money as money's contracted, costs have gone up without increasing. And we're very appreciative of the generosity of our local farmers in providing us with vegetables that we could distribute to the food pantries and improve the quality of food. And so we wanted to do something that would acknowledge them. Now, that's a big effort to do a major event, and we looked at it and we said, the people to do it with the Cornell, they do all the education, they support all the farmers. It was a natural. And so I went to Lee and we said, well, let's try it. And we were a little skittish even until about 3 weeks from it. We said, were you doing this? But it came off so well. And people had such a good time that we knew it was right. And this year it sort of exploded. We have 43 bands that have agreed to play for. We're going to have 3 stages going on. We have a car show, a touch the truck for kids. Nice things, very nice things.
And ultimately, for an event like this, for it to be successful, people have to come and have fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so it's this Saturday and Sunday all day long at the Ulster County Fairgrounds.
We've made it affordable. It's $5 for adults, 12 and under are free. And yeah, it's a good time. And people can, there'll be a lot of wonderful food, both food vendors and we'll be preparing food. Should be a really nice time.
So Lydia, tell me about the agricultural aspects.
So folks are going to have the opportunity to learn about some of the common agricultural practices that we're currently using. You'll have the opportunity to try maple syrup cotton candy made with local maple syrup. I have some growers that do a phenomenal job on that. There are also going to be classes that we're going to offer to folks on how to do jams and jellies, what is organic, cooking with a Dutch oven, and more. And folks can find out more about the specifics by going to our website, and all of this stuff is detailed. Along with that, we're going to have a lot of agricultural safety types of things so that folks can learn how to safely run not only that lawnmower and the tractor, but the chainsaw and other implements that we want folks to be really careful around.
How is the agricultural scene in the Mid-Hudson Valley these days?
Thriving.
Yeah.
Thriving.
Yeah, I go to farmers markets in uptown Kingston and in Woodstock, and it seems like
there's one in Saugerties that's grown.
Right, and then here in Kingston we have one on
New Paltz. You have 2 in Kingston now.
Midtown now.
Yeah,
Midtown as well. And there will be at least 6 farmers there with farmers market offerings. So you can come right to the festival and then take home the produce that you would like, all locally grown and taken care of really very well. And you'll be able to talk to the farmers and find out about their practices and what they're doing and why they do what they do, because agriculture is a very, very diverse business, but it also takes a tremendous amount of respect for the folks that do this kind of work. It's not your regular 9-to-5 job.
Indeed. Michael, tell me about some of the services at Family of Woodstock that people should know about.
Well, we're quite busy sheltering the homeless. Our shelters are full all the time these days. And We've been fortunate to get grants that will allow us to provide long-term housing with support services for people with disabilities so that they have a real opportunity to get back on their feet. People that have been homeless repeatedly or who are struggling with major disability issues.
And I know you do great work with domestic abuse.
Yes, we're unfortunately too active with that. And it's when you look at the numbers of domestic abuse issues, it's huge in our county and in all the surrounding counties. We really need to look at how we're raising our children, what kind of messages we're giving. There's been a huge change in the community's acceptance. I mean, we were talking just before I came here about a person that used the strap on his child, and that's a child abuse report. But his father used the strap on him.
Right.
And while we were talking, two of the people in the room said, well, yeah, my father used the strap. So there's a cultural change, which is very important. Certainly we don't want to see kids beaten, but we also have to understand that that's a change that's happening that has to be understood and reflected on.
Indeed. Well, you're both doing great work for the Hudson Valley. We appreciate you stopping by.
I'd like to mention one other thing about the event. Ulster Corp, which is a wonderful volunteer organization, brought to us that they would like to do their annual recognition of volunteers. And so we've offered to every not-for-profit in the community that they can nominate up to 5 volunteers that they want to honor who will be a free admission into the festival.
Terrific. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Jimmy.
That's it for this week's show. Thanks to Jo Concra. Find out more about this year's O Positive Festival, including the artist and band lineup, at opositivefestival.org. Thanks to Mayor Jo Gibson and Sean Gerow. To learn more about this weekend's Out of the Darkness Walk, go to asfp.org. And once again, thanks to Lydia Reidy and Michael Berg of the Hudson Valley Harvest Festival. Remember, all of our previous shows are available on our YouTube channel, and you can find that link on our Facebook page. I'm Jimmy Buff for Kingston Now. We'll see you next time.